powerboat racing on the Mississippi River. Today, some 40 years later, the river is roaring again as we bring you the Coors River Roar. Hello, everybody. I'm Steve Michael, and welcome to the upper waters of the mighty Mississippi River. Today's race will be a very unique one, and here to describe the course conditions is my broadcast partner and technical advisor for Mercury High Performance, Mike Butler.
Thanks, Steve. You know, this is going to be a unique course. A factor that the drivers are really going to have to contend with is the wind. Look at that flag blowing. There's a 20-knot wind here, and that means the drivers are going to have to be extra careful on this rough water.
Well, the race will actually span across 2 states, encompassing river communities of Davenport and Bettendorf in Iowa, along with Rock Island, Moline, East Moline, Illinois, all working together on both sides of the river to make this event a noted success. Well, the drivers now starting to wheel their boats out of the trailers and swing them down dockside as they'll get set for this race this afternoon. As we look at the IOGP points leaders, Chris Busch out of St. Paul, Minnesota. A week ago, won in Sacramento. He leads the standings with 569 points. Right behind him, Michael Werner of West Germany, the IOGP reigning champion of a year ago, has done very well. And consistency is his strong point. He's finished second and third this year. And then Buck Thornton, who won the opening round at Augusta, who was in the lead a week ago in Sacramento. His boat caught on fire today. He will be running a Burgess Hull, his replacement boat, this afternoon. A very unique course here at the Quad Cities. The drivers will leave the dock from a standing start and accelerate while going underneath the Centennial Bridge for pin number 1. Once through pin number 2, the long backstretch reaching maximum speed before turning into a very sharp turn number 3, a sweeping turn number 4, and then back down the 3/4 mile front straight. Starting up front in 4th and 2nd positions are 2 new drivers on the IOGP Tour this season, Scott DeWare and Art Kennedy. They talk about their strategy.
Well, the race course today is a lot larger than what we're used to and extremely rough in areas. I'm not in a castle boat, so today I've got to take it easy for the first few laps to feel things out. And the rulebook states to keep the guy on your left, keep an eye on the guy on your left, so the first few laps I'll be keeping an eye on the 3 boats on my left, and really just trying to stay out of trouble because there's a lot of water out there and it's very rough, and you're not going to win the race in the first couple of laps.
Well, we went out and tested this morning, and really, as large as the course is, we were figuring that we'd be in good shape by the time we got to the bottom corner. But we have some weather conditions here today that are, with the rough water conditions, that are going to kind of handicap us to a point. We're just hoping that it will blow through and then the water will lay down before the race.
What are the really hard spots along the course that you really have to keep a keen eye on when you're driving?
I think anywhere from down the back to from the bridge clear to the first corner there, as well as across. We've got large rollers there, and it's going to bear watching very carefully.
Drivers from coast to coast have come here to battle for over $45,000 in prize money. We'll be back for the start of the Champ Boat 30-lap event right after this. Well, as you can see on the screen, the wind has been the major factor all weekend long. Yesterday, qualifying, it didn't happen. It was 20-mile-an-hour winds. The drivers couldn't get out to qualify, so they drew positions. And here's the starting lineups as we take a look at today's race. On the pole is Bill Roscoe Jr. out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He has raced once this year on the IOGP Tour, finished 8th in Augusta.
Art Kennedy drew the 2nd spot, a veteran racer of many years' experience. He likes the rough water.
Starting third on the dock, Steve D'Souza out of Linwood, Washington, driving the Easy Loader machine. His best finish in the IOGP was a 3rd a week ago.
4th goes to Scott DeWare. He's running the Seabold boat, one of the only non-capsule boats out there today.
Starting 5th with Jim Johnson out of Monrovia, California, driving a California Gold machine, having a terrible season so far, 19th in the standings. He finished 13th a week ago.
Drawing the 6th spot, all the way from Cologne, West Germany, Michael Werner, current IOGP champion. Look for him to be tough today.
The points leader on the IOGP Tour, Chris Busch, a week ago, the winner at Sacramento, starting in 7th position, right in the middle of the field.
Drawing 8th is Chuck McKay, also from Minnesota. He drives for Coors today and McKay Family Dodge.
Looking at the remainder of the field here in the Quad Cities this afternoon, Gene Thibodeau out of Winter Haven, Florida, will start 9th. Another Floridian, Randy Gore. And then Scott Gilman, the rookie out of California. Buck Thornton, who is way up in the standings in 3rd, but will be starting back as far as 12th.
An unusual position for the Seabold family. Mike Seabold and Bill Seabold, they're in the 13th and 14th spot.
Well, a driver who's feeling all the pressure, but who's ready for his assignment as the pole sitter today is Billy Roscoe. We caught up with him down in the pit.
Yeah, it's pretty rough out there, and we've talked to a lot of the other drivers. The general consensus is it's going to be extremely dangerous. We hope to just get out front and just stay there. We really don't want to run away with the show. We want to get out there and set a good pace, but we're not going to try and run away with anything, and we'll just keep plugging until the end of the race, and we'll probably see the drivers starting to pick the pace up a little bit the last 5 or 8 laps of the race. But if we can get out in front and just set a decent pace for the first part of the race, we'll go at it hard the last part of the race.
Well, as Billy Roscoe gets his thoughts together, the 1-minute flare has been shot off. We are within a minute of starting this race, and a dash of international flavor here at the Quad Cities, and a driver who is never bashful about his starting strategy. Michael Werner of Cologne, West Germany, tells us his thoughts about starting in the middle of the field.
No, I like in the middle. I like this because this gives me always motivation for go better and better and better, which means, okay, if I start in the middle of the field, let's say number 7 or number 8, and then I say, hey, now let's catch this number 7, and then the number 6, and you're going forward, and then this gives me, to myself, a lot of motivation, and I feel I go better and better. Let's say if I have, from the start, direct, let's say the first start position, it's hard, then, because you have all the pressure behind you, and you make one mistake, and you will lose. Yeah, absolutely. And it will never excuse this. If somebody passes you, will never catch him.
The white flag is up. Seconds to go. All eyes are glued on the official starter. 14 boats ready to take the start here in the Quad Cities, and we're underway. As they start off from 0 to 100 miles an hour in less than 5 seconds, all boats got away from the dock cleanly as they head down now underneath the Centennial Bridge. It's a long, long way to turn number 1 as they set up the leader now. It looks like it's Gene Thibodeau from Winter Haven, Florida, who has made it his trademark, jumping out to the lead in these early races on the IOGP Tour.
Well, the boat has a lot of potential, but he hasn't been able to get the bugs worked out of it, and there goes the Souza.
The Souza, the native out of Linwood, Washington, driving the Easy Loader Mercury-powered Seabold build hull, has grabbed the lead away from Gene Thibodeau as we watch the pack come through turn number 2. There, down the back straightaway, we get a chance to see the rooster tails kicking up as drivers in their first lap of actual racing here this weekend feel out the conditions, and it looks like right now that it's the man from Linwood, Washington, who's really found the tune.
Well, the Souza did. He showed some real aggressive driving style there, taking the inside line on Thibodeau, but now he's coming down the front stretch, and the water seems to be laying down a little bit. The wind seems to be calming. We may see some higher speeds here. The thing about it is, the driver's set up for rough water, and now that it's starting to calm a little bit, it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers handle it.
Well, we checked the leaderboard after lap number 1. It's Steve D'Souza, your leader. In second place, coming up all the way from 14th position, is Bill Seabold. In third is Gene Thibodeau. Fourth is Michael Werner, and fifth is Chris Bush. There is your battle for second, third, and fourth. And it looks like the maestro, Bill Seabold, is challenging for the lead on the inside.
Well, here's where the experience is paying off. Billy, with all his experience in different types of water conditions, starting last in the dock, in 2 laps, he's already in second place.
We'll watch this critical turn number 3 as they come through. Seabold sweeps it wide, tries to build the momentum, and forcing D'Souza to make him fight for every inch of the way in the lead.
An interesting thing about Bill Seabold, last week in Sacramento, he flew the boat over, wasn't injured, but had to do some major surgery on the boat. He had to drive it back to Sacramento, to St. Louis, repair the boat, and get it down to Davenport all in a week.
And here comes the 34-year racing veteran Bill Seabold in that Mercury-powered machine, pulling out in the lead away from Steve D'Souza. So Bill Seabold has the lead. We have completed 3 laps. We'll be back with more exciting racing from Davenport right after this. Michael and Mike Butler welcoming you back to a tremendously exciting Coors River Roar here in the Quad Cities this afternoon. In second place, it's Steve D'Souza in the Easy Loader Icon machine. And he is trying to battle this man who, after 6 laps, is in the lead. Bill Seabold in first, D'Souza in second, Gene Thibodeau in third. Michael Werner out of Cologne, West Germany in fourth. In fifth is Mike Siebold, and in sixth is Randy Gore. There is Scott Dewar out of Hingham, Massachusetts. It looks like he's been having problems early on in this race. He is a rookie on the IOGP Tour, but not a rookie in racing, Mike.
No, he's been around for a number of years. He's run Formula One for the last few. It looks like he might have some type of problem now because he's pulling into the pit.
And our leader, Bill Siebold, continues to pull away from the pack. In second place, man, Steve D'Souza. There's a driver who has stopped dead in the water, and it's our points leader, Chris Bush, out of St. Paul, Minnesota, in a Castleberry Foods SCV Mercury-powered machine. It has stopped, and he's got boat problems today.
Well, a good friend of Bush, Chuck McKay, has returned after 5 years of retirement from IOGP Racing. Steve had a chance to talk with him earlier.
Chuck, you've been off since '82. Tell us a little bit about the learning process, getting back into the boat and running fast.
Well, the biggest thing that is just amazing to me in the last 4 years is the new boats, and the way they drive, and the way they handle, and the way they turn. It's just amazing how far they've come in the time that I've been off, and it's really exciting to get in and drive fast again, but it's really, really amazing that the boat feels so good, drives so well, and turns so well around the turn. It's helped me get back into a lot more than I expected.
You feel a lot safer now on the boat than you did before you retired?
Yeah, I really do. One of the big factors for me coming back to the racing was the capsule. I wouldn't have come back into the sport at all if it wasn't for the capsule.
Well, McKay continues on his giant learning curve, as he mentioned. Mike, he's been out for 5 years, but he's getting better every race along the tour.
Well, Chuck was a good hard driver before his retirement. And, he moved up to the classes, the smaller classes, over the years, and I looked for his driving to improve after every race.
Well, Michael, as you know, learning is a continuing aspect in any kind of racing. A driver feels more comfortable the more seat time he gets. You don't learn it all at once. It comes from experience. Rookie Scott Gilman tells us what goes through his mind just before disaster strikes.
You get that silent, eerie feeling for about a second when you know you don't hear the motor anymore. You know you're going over, and it happened so fast that I was sitting there before I knew what happened. But we have the safety cells this year in the sport that are really big and have helped save a lot of lives, and I think the sport is getting very safe and very nice.
Scott has a lot of experience in race cars, but that didn't help him not blow over. What happened was he had the engine trimmed out too far. It caused the nose of the boat to get too high running for that first pin, and he caught a puff of wind and it got away from him and blew it over. Steve, have you ever tried sticking your arm out the car window at 55 miles an hour with your hand flat and slowly raised it and watch what happens? Your arm wants to go flying towards the rear of the car? Well, that's what it's like blowing a boat over. The nose comes up, and if it comes up too high, it'll get away from you. It's just like sticking your hand out the window at 55. Bam, it's gone and you're on your back.
Well, 55 is one thing, Mike. Could you imagine doing it at 130 miles an hour that these drivers are showing today? And we had a chance to get a glimpse of Mike Siebold, who is sitting on the dock. A very disappointing day for him. He started the year in Augusta, finished second, and actually had the lead on the restart in Sacramento, and he couldn't get his boat away from the dock, and he lost out a big chance there to gain points. And now today, again, he will not finish. He started in 13th. He worked his way up to 5th. He was having a good afternoon until then.
Mike Siebold's had his problems all year long. He's racing in Europe this year as well as in the States in the IOGP circuit. And, well, there's another guy right there. He's our points leader in IOGP, and he's out of the race.
And for Chris Bush, that's his first DNF of the season. But, Mike, one thing I noticed when we saw Mike Siebold's boat sitting at the dock, the numbers didn't match and the paint job was different.
Well, what he's doing, he's running his brother Tim's boat, and that he put his cowling on with his own personal number 16, which you notice in the front cowl, that was Timmy's number. And the reason he's running that boat is a couple weeks ago in Bristol, England, he totally destroyed his boat in Europe. So what he had to do after the Sacramento race, box his boat up, get it shipped to Europe to run the rest of the season. He had to borrow Timmy's boat for this race until he could get another one built.
And with the demise of Mike Siebold out of the race, this man right here, Randy Gore, has moved himself up into 5th place. He finished 4th a week ago in Sacramento, and he is doing very well here today. But there's a man who's pulling away from the pack, Bill Siebold. We have completed 12 laps of racing. We have much more to go here from Quad Cities right after this. fans along the banks here this afternoon at Quad Cities enjoying the River Roar. We hope you're enjoying it today. Here you get a great chance to watch from the driver's perspective as he picks up speed. And here are the battles for third place. Quite a bit of dicing all afternoon going on between Gene Thibodeau and boat number 5 and Michael Werner from West Germany in 84. And now making a point is boat number 64, and that is Jimmy Johnson of California Gold moving up. There you see Steve D'Souza in second place. But earlier today, we had a chance to watch a very exciting race, the Mod VP. And the fans who watched this pack of brave drivers challenge the wind in the mighty Mississippi to anything but a dull roar. Before this race could start, however, the drivers were asked if they even wanted to challenge the wind.
I think you saw it isn't too bad with the exception of that far turn. Underneath the bridge, you start getting into some heavy rollers. And we're going to be tiptoeing around the turn if we take that turn. Up or down, I want to see it. Leave it like it is. Leave it like it is. I don't think you're gaining advantage of it.
Well, the decision has been made. The drivers will race, and a driver who is in second place in the point standings, but starting at the back of the pack, is Chip Watkins. Chip, it's going to be a tough battle for you today. I know you're starting back in the pack a little bit. What's your strategy?
Well, starting in the back of the pack is a luck of the draw. Strategy today, we've got some rough conditions. We run a safe race, run as hard as we can. That's it.
Now, this should be pretty much in your favor, though. This boat favors rough conditions. Looks like it's all and that and more. 2 miles around the course today. Where'd you find the tough spot for you today out there in practice?
I found a tough side on the back part of the course going with the wind, which is a little strange. Generally, you have a problem coming against the wind. So we have some water conditions today that are fairly unpredictable, which could cause some bad spots for a few of the drivers.
And as the 1 minute flare goes off, Billy Polk starting fourth gave us his pre-race preparation to challenge for a win here at Quad City.
Well, we dropped the engine a little bit because in the rough water, if you don't have the engine too high, you lose fight on your prop. So we did that, and we've done some jet changes.
The starting lineup for round number 3 of the Mod VP World Championship. Ricky Comer on the pole, Charlie Anderson second, Jerry Tuttle and Billy Polk the top 4. With Rusty Campbell, the points leader, starting 6th, Chip Watkins down in 8th. And rounding out the field is Drew Davis. So we're set to go. The white flag is up. And the official starter, once he is dropped out, the race will be officially underway. And he waves the white flag, and the boats immediately pull away from the dock as they start to build speed up. The drivers now setting their trim, getting the boats to get some clear water here to try to grab the lead, and it looks like it's Rusty Campbell from this vantage point who was rocketed from 6th place on the starting dock and into an early lead.
Rusty had a heck of a hole shot. He got off the dock first, and Ricky Comer's moving up on him on the inside now, but the rough water is going to be a true test of the driver's setup ability.
And it's Comer now on the inside as he and Campbell battle deck to deck here, and as they try to find a clear way, they'll be coming into pin number 2 and then heading down that long straightaway on the backside. So it's Comer in front, Campbell in second, and Chip Watkins has moved all the way from the back. He is up to 3rd at this point, Mike.
Well, Chip Watkins' smoker boat seems to be running very well. But look at Ricky Comer's T-bolt house. Look at the way it's moving across that rough water. He's got the engine height where he wants it. He's running probably a little deeper because of these rougher conditions and the longer course. That allows the engine and propeller to be a little deeper in the water, and when the boat rides over the top of those waves, the propeller doesn't lose its bite.
Well, it's Comer who has jumped out to about a 5-length boat advantage on Rusty Campbell, who is in second, third, Chip Watkins. As we watch the remaining boats come through, there on the far side of the course, you see Ricky Comer now making a turn. He has missed the buoy.
Well, he turned inside of third 4. He missed the buoys, so now he's got to go around, make up the buoy, or lose a lap.
And this has to be terribly disappointing for Ricky Comer, who is 6th in the standings. Had a very good finish in Augusta with a 4th place, and now with this happening, his chances of chasing down the championship leader, this man right here, Rusty Campbell, for the overall championship early on in the season, have been dimmed. And on the outside, now we see a challenge for the lead. It's Chip Watkins driving the Stoker Tuttle.
Oh, that Stoker really needs to handle rough water. He's going around Rusty on the outside. Look at Rusty's boat. He can't handle rough water like Watkins can. He's still on the inside, but I don't think he's going to be able to make up the time on Watkins.
Terribly awfully choppy water out there. They moved the buoys before the start of this race, but still you can see on this wide river here today from the Mississippi, it's a quarter of a mile wide, and it really, with the wind kicking up a little bit, it can really turn the water up nice.
Well, this is a really interesting shot of Watkins here. Let's get a little bit into the design of the boat. You see Watkins' boat, it's a full tunnel type boat. You notice Rusty's, those are pickle fork design. The IOGPs are fiberglass boats. Comparing them to the Champs, like you've seen earlier, they're wood hull, 17 feet in length, 1,000 pounds. The IOGPs, on the other hand, are fiberglass. And right now you're seeing two distinct different types of boats out there. The full tunnel, a little deeper tunnel on the choker, so it can handle rough water a little bit better. That's what we're seeing right now.
They've had a minimum weight of, 1,350 pounds this year. They've added a few more pounds on there. Wait, and look at Campbell. He almost lost it. He was backing off right there.
Yeah, that takes a little bit out of the driver. And here's another interesting thing about Watkins is he's in a capsule. He's strapped in. The driver is not going to probably take a toll on Watkins as quick as it is on Rusty. He's still in open cockpit, not strapped in, and gets tossed around in rough water. That's very tiring.
And for Campbell, his endurance won't get better as the race goes on. It'll only get weaker. So he's going to have to challenge now to the lead early on in the race, or else he won't have a chance to later on, probably.
Chip is running right now, Chip Watkins. He's got everything dialed in. The way that boat is going across the rough water, it's very noticeable how smooth it's running versus Rusty's boat. Not handling it rough water. The way Watkins is.
Well, it's Watkins out in the lead. Rusty Campbell is second. Billy Falk is third. And in fourth place is Gary Tuttle right now.
Gary Tuttle's running a new boat also. It's a Mirage Hull. They've been around for a year or so, and they're also very competitive. They're very similar looking to the STV, pickle fork design.
There's a man with problems, Roger Meekins, who is driving his own design muscle boat. He qualified 7th in Augusta, finished 11th. He has a problem. He was up to 5th place at one time, but obviously his day is ruined. We have reached lap number 8 now. Rusty Campbell, as he flies through the water here, trying to work his way back up the pack and trying to grab that lead away from Chip Watkins, but Watkins right now in that stoker hull seems to have the advantage in rough water. As we watch Campbell here coming through on a tight line on that corner, heading down that back straightaway, it seems like Mikey's having a problem here setting up his trim.
Well, it could be his engine height, propeller selection. It's a guessing game before the start of each race.
And Mike, from long range, it looks like down into turns number 1 and 2, we had a problem down there. And it looks like it's Drew Davis who swapped in. And he looked the boat, and he's in the water. He seems to be all right. He is floating along and moving his arms, and the Chattanooga Stars rescue team will be on the march very quickly getting to them. There they come on the right-hand side of the picture. And one diver going over to make sure that the driver is okay. And Drew, they're raising his arm using the universal language of all drivers, letting the crew members know that he will be okay and that he can make it on his own volition. The race has been stopped. We'll have more MotoGP racing from Quad Cities right after this. Set for the restart here, the MotoGP, round number 3 from Quad Cities, the World Championship Series, and Chip Watkins takes off from the pole, and he's got Rusty Campbell right next to him. So Campbell and Watkins, as the boat gets away late, it's Rusty Campbell and Chip Watkins battling side by side as they head down the backstretch, as they go into turn number 1 here at Quad City.
So Rusty sure does have the hole shot, but you'll have to see if he's going to be able to handle that rough water. And you can tell right now the boat's he's a lot of shape going into that first turn.
Campbell looks like he's teetering towards disaster as that boat starts to really air out. He sends it up in the air. Now he battles side by side with Chip Watkins. We saw this battle in the first lap of the race here before the restart, and we're seeing it again. The scenario is still up the same.
Well, it's a good race going behind those two. That's Gary Tuttle in the blue boat, number 66. Billy Falk on the inside in the red boat, and Ricky Comer on the outside in the sea boat. That's 3rd, 4th, and 5th place right there.
The driver who is up to 5th place but is no longer driving today is Roger Meekins.
Well, that's bad news. What happened?
Back corner come out. I don't know if I hit something or just the water did it. All of a sudden I knew I had water coming up around my feet. If the back corner would have burned all the way out, the water wouldn't have come in. But it was hitting it and shooting it up forward.
It happened clean down on the other turn. I'm lucky I made it up this far without getting under.
Was it instantaneous, or took a while before you realized you had excess weight in the boat with all that water?
No, it looked like somebody turned a fire hose loose in the boat.
Bill Meekins is out. There is your leader, Chip Watkins, out of Massapequa, New York, driving the California Gold Machine this afternoon, Mercury powered. And he has built up a good lead on Rusty Campbell now. He passed him a lap ago, and now he has about a 10-boat length lead on Rusty Campbell out of Augusta, Georgia.
This is where the rough water starts to play a part. I started to say before, the difference between these two boats, one reason why Chip is able to handle rougher water a little bit better than Rusty, I believe, is that when you get a chance to look at the boats down the center, like right there, you see the center pod on Chip's boat. It's a little bit wider than Rusty's. Rusty's is more of a V. And I think what's happening is, with the V design on Rusty, it's allowing him, going over the choppy water, to fall in the swell, thus cleaning off one and going into another, and it's just making the boat a little bit more uncontrollable than Chip. He's able to go over it instead of falling off of it.
Boat designer Rourke Summerford, who built this hull for Rusty Campbell, spent a lot of time during the winter, well over 100 hours, just trying to work on the bottom end of that boat to get it set up for this kind of conditions. And it's worked so far this year, but today it seems like the Stoker hull just has that little edge over the Summerford V.
Well, I think that's the case today, but every race is different, and Rusty will set up different for another race. Chip's boat, it's just very obvious right there going through that third, and Chip came through fairly smooth, handled the water, and even the Mirage boat's having a little bit of a problem with the rougher water, like the FTV.
So Chip Watkins in the lead, Rusty Campbell in second, third is Gary Tuttle, and fourth right now, after missing a buoy earlier on, is Ricky Comer, who has moved up. As you watch them come underneath the Centennial Bridge here in the Quad Cities this afternoon for the Coors River Roar, there is Gary Tuttle, who sits in third place, driving the Mirage. This year, his best finish was 13th at Augusta. Last year, he finished 8th overall in the standings. He finished 4th at Augusta and finished 6th in St. Louis. He did very well last year, and he's getting better here as the season goes on.
Look at how choppy that water is getting, and you can tell it's taking its toll on Rusty. He's hardly got his engine trimmed out. Now he's starting to bring out a little bit, but he's having a difficult time right there, it looks like, getting over the water.
Well, you know, the problem sometimes with the drivers going through embankments, for instance, this bridge embankment right there, is that going to be a problem for the drivers if the water swirls around those columns?
Oh, yes, it is. And I don't think it's quite as bad here because it's spread out, but it can cause a problem rolling off the pillars and causing large rollers. And there's Ricky Comer. He must have lost the turn and barrel roll.
Well, a nightmare of a day for Ricky Comer. He started off on the pole, and he missed the buoy early on. He had to go back, and now there he is in the water. And quickly, the Chattanooga Stars rescue team comes in to help him out. It looks like the race has been officially stopped. Comer is in the water, and this Mod VP race is history. And there is your winner. Chip Watkins takes the victory, and your standings now after 3 races on the Mod VP Tour. Rusty Campbell continues the lead, but it looks like Chip Watkins has really closed the gate on him. And the standings this afternoon, Watkins the winner, Campbell finishing in second, Billy Falk doing a fine job at third, and Michael DeMaio finishing fourth. Fifth was Gary Tuttle and a few other drivers that didn't complete the laps this afternoon here at the race. Well, we have a chance now to go down and talk to our overall winner, Chip Watkins. Well, here's the man from Massapequa, New York. He's right back in the point hunt. Congratulations. Great victory today, Chip. Water conditions were tough, but this Stoker hull was able to handle it pretty well, it looks like.
As always, Stoker Sport Tunnel pulls it through for us time after time.
Tell us a little bit about the ride. It was a bumpy 12 laps, and you had a really dramatic turn come after that first stoppage. What happened?
It was unbelievably rough water. Probably roughest conditions we've ever been in. On the restart, we just have a boat that handles superior in the rough water, which is obviously what we have today, and our motor-boat combination was set. We had it right.
So the story's been told today for the Mod VPs. We go back to the champ booth. And in the lead after 13 laps is this man, Bill Siebold, out of St. Louis, Missouri, driving the Siebold-built Mercury-powered hull. And he has wrapped a 20-second lead now on Steve D'Souza, who is second from Littlewood, Washington. Gene Thibodeau is third. Michael Werner from West Germany fourth. And in fifth right now is Jimmy Johnson in California Gold out of La Palma, California. And Michael, what's running through this man's mind? Steve D'Souza out of Linwood, Washington. He's in second, but he's falling back all the time.
Well, all he can do right now is hang in there, run a good, consistent, hard race. And you notice right now the water conditions compared to the Bobby Beach, it's got a little bit calmer. I don't think that's going to help D'Souza at all because Billy's just running so well. You just got to hang in there and hope Billy has a problem.
Billy continues out in the lead, but a driver we're going to take a look at here who is getting experience on the IOGP Tour is a man from Hingham, Massachusetts, Scott Ware.
Well, there's a difference in the boat, the way it handles. There's a difference, of course, switching to the Mercury outboard. I've been very pleased with the Mercury outboard. And the big differences are that the boat's a little smaller, a little lighter. I've driven camp boats in the past, but it has been a few years since I've sat in a camp boat. And I think a bigger adjustment from Formula One to the IOGP and champ class has been going from a capsule boat in Formula One to a non-capsule boat in camp. But hopefully in the next race or so we'll rectify and get back into a capsule boat.
Butler welcoming you back to the Coors River Roar here from Quad Cities on the mighty Mississippi. And after 18 laps, the leader is this man, Bill Siebold, driving the Siebold-built Hull Mercury-powered machine. And third class of the day as we leave the champ booth, we want to show you the SST 140. This race would tighten the battle for the World Championship points to the closest it's been all year. We talked to the reigning two-time world champion, Harley Wilson.
You know, it's rough out there, and we got to set up that we can go in rough or smooth water, and I don't believe the other guys can really run the rough water as well as we can. You know, if they might surprise us, we might get a laugh, but I think we really got our setup dialed in.
Now, is that mainly because of the boat hull itself, or is it because you've driven a lot on rough water and you like it that way?
Well, it's a combination. I like rough water, and the boat really handles the rough water well. And I enjoy the rough water.
Well, a lot of confidence being shown by the two-time world champion as we take a look at the starting lineup. Harley Wilson on the pole, Ron Jarrell second, Ken Davis third, and Jim McKay out of Modesto, California, starting fourth. He's already won a race this year.
Throwing the fifth spot was James Altane. Sixth was last week's winner, Terry Leatherby. Seventh, Mark Miller. Jay Price got the eighth spot.
Brother of Mark, Kevin Miller, drew number 9. Rookie Scott Kropfeld was 10th. Tim Siebold, 11th. Gerald Kowalski out of Michigan was 12th. And we wait a second here for the ducks to go by. We're just moments away from the start of this SST 140 race. Here on the World Championship Tour from Quad Cities, we're underway, and the boats explode away from the dock as they head down now toward the Centennial Bridge, and they'll be looking for turn buoy number 1. As you see the spray of boats breaking away, they'll head underneath the bridge, and we wait to see who our leader is, but it looks like from this vantage point, Mike, already the two-time reigning world champion Harley Wilson has grabbed the lead.
Well, he certainly was quick off the dock. And like he said in the interview, he likes the choppy water. And from what I can see right now, the way he's running, he's going to be very tough to beat because he's going over that rough water. Beautiful.
And Harley is going to try to reestablish himself as the leader in this class. Last year, as we talked about, he won the World Championship here in SST 140s. It was a storybook finish, South Padre Island, defeating Terry Leatherby, the man he had to beat, along with Mickey Garrett, to win the overall title 2 years in a row. This year, however, he has only finished one of the races that he's been in. It was a great victory for him at Augusta. He did not finish the race, however, in Jacksonville, and he missed the race in Sacramento. So now, Mike, he's trying to catch up to points leader Terry Leatherby, and what a better way than trying to beat him out here on his home course. He only lives 140 miles away.
Well, Harley has an uphill battle. Missing the Sacramento race cost him dearly. But a win here today and a poor finish by Leatherby, that'll get him back in the race.
Well, Harley's out in front. Terry Leatherby has moved all the way up into second. He started in the 6th starting spot. And also another driver on the move is Mark Miller. He started back in 7th place, and he has moved up to 3rd. Those are your top 3. And speaking of point leader Terry Leatherby, we had a chance to talk with him about how important he thinks the owner and crew chief of his team is here on the Tractor Marine Special.
Oh, yeah, Jim, of course, he's the guy that does all the work. I've always said that, and that's the hidden thing in all boat racing or automobile racing, I think, is the crew members and the crew member families, because they're the ones that are trailing them boats up and down the highway. They're the ones that's got to get everything all ready for us as drivers. I don't know anything about a race boat in the sense of being able to set it up in the sense of mechanical things of it. That's what Jim does. He gets the motor dialed in. He gets it all to the point where it'll live. We've been running 142s now for 3 years in the circuit, and we've yet to lose a motor.
Well, a very honest driver who says he can't do it all and he may not have the time to do it all, and he leaves it up for his crew chief, Jimmy Rail, who does an excellent job.
Oh, Jimmy's been at it for a long time. I've known him for 15 years. Excellent engine man.
Harley Wilson continues to lead here as he comes down in front of the Centennial Bridge. We look back farther in the pack. There's Tim Siebold. And Siebold, who has done well early on in the year, almost won the race at Jacksonville until the very last few laps in the race when his wind went sour on him. And he is getting back in the fray, and he's trying to move himself up the ladder. But with the talented drivers like Wilson and Leatherby in front of him, it's going to be tough for Tim Siebold getting back in his class. He has raced this class before, but he's a rookie trying to get back into it this year after being in Mod GP for the last 2 years.
Well, the SFC class, you might notice, is very similar to the Champ. Externally, both size, looks, design are almost identical to the Champ. Even the engine externally looks the same. The big difference, though, is underneath that cowling. From there, it's totally different. The SFC 140 uses a stock Mercury 200 horsepower powerhead, while the Champ uses a modified 2-liter 150 horsepower head. The SFC, being basically a stock powerhead, will only turn about 8,000 RPM, where the Champ, fully modified, will be turned at 10,000 RPM. Engine life is drastically reduced on the Champ engine. Where SFC, some of the drivers are getting as much as 3, 4, 5 races, and I've even known a couple of them get a full season of racing on an SFC power, so it's a little bit cheaper also.
Well, this man right here is showing a full season of finesse as he leads right now in front of Terry Leatherby. That is our 2-time defending world champion Harley Wilson out of Kissimmee, Florida. Leatherby right behind him trying to find any which way he can to move in on the man from Florida. But right now it looks like Harley Wilson in that tunnel design boat has a half a lap to go, and I don't think Terry Leatherby will catch him.
Well, you know, Harley was talking about how he liked the rough water. Believe me, Leatherby's a good rough water driver too, but I don't think there's any way he's going to be able to catch Harley today.
Here's Harley now making the final 2 turns as he comes out of turn number 2. He'll be heading down this back stretch, ready to take the flag along the dock here. It's Wilson pulling away from Leatherby. He will win his 2nd straight race on the IOGP Tour this year. And it's Wilson who is redefining himself, and he will grab the points lead as he comes across, taking the checkered flag. Wilson the winner here in Quad Cities in the SSC 140 race this afternoon.
Oh, and it was a fantastic race. You've got Terry Leatherby out there and Harley Wilson, 2 veteran drivers, been around for a long time. But Harley was definitely the one to beat today.
Harley got the luck of the draw and won from the pole. Leatherby started 6th and worked his way up to 2nd. As we look at the final standings this afternoon, nice job for Mark Miller, who started back in 7th place. Jay Price finishing in 4th after he began the race in 8th place. Ken Davis 5th. Kevin Miller out of Niceville, Florida, finishing in 6th. Tim Siebold 7th. And then Gerald Kowalski, who started in the back of the pack, finished in 8th place. Jim McKay 9th, Scott Kropfeld 10th, James Oltang 11th, and Ron Jarrell finished in last and 12th. And a very exciting celebration going on now at Dockside with the Wilson family. Here's the family picture of the Wilson family. Very successful. Harley in the middle, congratulations. You're 2 for 2 this year on the IOGP Tour.
Yeah, you know, it's real good to win this race. We just set the boat up. I told you earlier that we thought we had the right setup, and then the water changed, and we went back to our old setup, and everybody was putting big props on for this course. We went out and tested it, and I didn't think it was a big prop course, and Terry Leatherby, I knew he was there every bit of the way.
We'll be back for the finish of the Champ Boat race, so don't you go away. Welcome back to the final few laps here at Quad Cities. The Coors Race River Roar, and Steve Michael and Mike Butler with you. We have reached lap number 24, and there is the man who has been in the lead for 23 of 24 of these laps. But Mike, it looks like he is slowing down.
He is. He's got problems. It looks like his engine's trimmed out too far. He may have a trim problem. He can't get the engine tucked in at all, and that allows the nose to run high, and for fear of blowing it over, he's just slowing down.
Here is the driver in the right place at the right time who has grabbed the lead. Steve D'Souza, he was waiting for a break, and he finally got his chance. And we had a chance to talk to him earlier today about the strategy that he sets up in the pits before he goes out and races.
Yeah, you can. It's somewhat limited. Not everybody wants to give out all the secrets. And myself, I'm pretty much detached from the motor and the propeller and the gear case work, and our engineer runs around talking to everybody. But I just pretty much stay loose and enjoy our crew, and we're all friends, and talk to the different drivers and crack a few jokes, and just stay loose and see what's going on.
Here's the driver who started in 5th place in this race, who is now battling Steve D'Souza for the lead. He's been scratching and clawing his way up the leaderboard. He is only a matter of a couple of seconds behind. Jimmy Johnson is closing the gap from the outside.
Interesting here, Steve. Steve D'Souza and Jimmy Johnson run basically identical boats. He's got a 1,000-pound weight limit in the cam class. But Jim Johnson probably is spotting Steve D'Souza 50 to 60 pounds. Steve D'Souza is a flyweight. Jim Johnson is a pretty big guy.
Jim Johnson has won on the IOGP Tour in the past. Last year it was Lake Charles. This year he's trying to do it here at the Quad Cities. And for Steve D'Souza, he has never won on the IOGP Tour. He holds records in the SST 120 class and also the modified 100-inch class.
But this is going to be a big win for D'Souza if he can take it. Jimmy Johnson, there you see Seabold, you can tell he's got trim problems. His engine is kicked out way too far. He can't go any faster than that because he'll blow it over.
D'Souza in the lead on the final lap. Now lapping Scott Gilman, but he's got Jimmy Johnson on his trail, who's closing the gap and trying to make a move here. A desperate move. Johnson now coming in with one more corner to go here from the Quad Cities. It's D'Souza in the white boat, in the lane, making the final turn here down the back straight. And Johnson trying to take him on the inside, making it a shorter route as they come down the final straightaway. It's D'Souza now on the outside. Johnson trying to challenge him on the inside. They go underneath the Centennial Bridge. They are less than a quarter of a mile from the start-finish line. D'Souza out in the lead, raises his hand. He wins the race here. The Coors River Roar from the Quad Cities. His first race ever. A win for him on the IOGP Tour. And for Jimmy Johnson, just seconds behind. A tremendous battle this afternoon. And what a blistering pace that was set early by Bill Seabold. We'll be back to talk to our excited winner and the man who finished just inches away in second place when we return here on the Coors River Roar from Quad Cities.
Catch all the racing action all year long with an American Powerboat Association Associate Membership. Stay abreast of the latest in the sport of powerboat racing with the association's monthly magazine and receive paddock passes that let you get an up-close and personal look at the boats, motors, and drivers. Boat Racing Fever. Catch it with an associate membership to the American Powerboat Association. Send a $20 check or money order to American Powerboat Association, Post Office Box 377, East Detroit, 48021.
Steve Michael and Mike Butler back here with you. Well, the engines may have quieted down, but the excitement is at fever pitch at dockside. Let's get a chance to go down and talk to the man who finished second here today, Jim Johnson.
Yeah, I did. The water laid down. I got more comfortable around the boat. We had a little problem this morning in testing, and I was a little concerned about breaking the boat. I started easy, and I felt comfortable with the boat. We just started leaning on it as the boat got a little lighter towards the end.
Fourth place man, Michael Verner, stepping out of his boat. Here's our winner. An interesting thing, though, too, as we take a look at it today when you're racing, everybody had a feeling before the race started. You were starting third. The talk around the pits was, maybe this is Steve D'Souza's day, and you sure turned out to make it a great day for yourself and the team.
I wish they'd talk a little bit more about that like that for us, but I'll tell you what, the Easy Loader Icon team with my crew chief Mike Dosky and our engineer Ron Anderson and my assistant Al Clark, they do a hell of a job, and they work endless hours at home in our shop trying to get stuff ready every race, and you know, without those guys, we wouldn't have had this today, so it's as much their victory as mine.
Well, team performance has been vital in making the Coors River Roar a reality with such cooperation.